Tonight I sit down with Harrison Sissel and Will Buntin, filmmakers for the film Unfortunately Jack, and talk about their process when writing the film and making the trailer. The reels are rolling here on Upstart Film. Good evening and welcome to Upstart Film, where we talk to independent filmmakers about their hardships and successes when creating movie magic. From the KMOS studios in Warrensburg, Missouri, I'm your host, Josh Leonard. Thanks for tuning in. Tonight, I have the writer of Unfortunately Jack, Harrison Sissel, and Will Buntin, who acted in the movie in the studio. Hey guys, welcome to the studio. Thanks for showing up.
Thanks for having us.
So I'm going to go ahead and ask you a couple of questions. We'll start off with you, Harrison. Tell me a little bit about yourself. How'd you get into making movies?
A long time ago, when I was in middle school, I had a neighbor who was into filmmaking, and one afternoon I was sitting in my room playing with baseball cards or something silly like that, and I heard a loud knock on the side of my wall. So I went outside to see what it was, and it was actually my neighbor and his buddies shooting a commercial for a service called Doorman, where they put doors where you need them, and they were running at the side of my house with a shovel. And so I just ended up sitting there watching them for the whole afternoon, just filming this ridiculous little short. And I was like, that's what I want to do. They're having so much fun. And then the end product was awesome, and it made people laugh. And yeah, just kind of went from there.
What about you, Will? How'd you get into making movies?
Growing up a child in the 80s, I was kind of heavily influenced by high concept cartoons and the comic books I was reading at the time. So I wanted to be an illustrator originally. And when that happened, I started writing dialogue for it, and that morphed into short stories, which grew into me wanting to be a novelist up until I graduated high school. And seeing a double feature of Pulp Fiction and Clerks really changed me for the better. I'm like, I have to do screenwriting, and I'm spending all the time writing this. Maybe I should shoot this as well. So I went out and kind of tried to learn all the jobs behind the scenes, and here we are today.
That's awesome. All right, so I asked you guys to be here today because I saw a trailer for a movie that you guys made and you wrote called Unfortunately Jack. Can you guys tell me a little bit about what is Unfortunately Jack about?
Unfortunately, Jack is the story of just a loser who lives with his mom who is accidentally kidnapped by the small-time mob. It is legitimately just a wrong person, wrong place, wrong time kind of situation, and he gets pulled into this and gets deeper and deeper into this mob underworld that's in Kansas City, and just how he grows and discovers his sense of who he is while meeting a range of characters. Like Will plays a character. Yeah.
Cool. So how'd you come up with the concept? It's always interesting how people just randomly spark.
Right. I have a theory that all movies are sparked from like just one idea. So like somebody gets shot at, but he's holding something bulletproof. What's bulletproof? Oh, the Declaration of Independence is bulletproof, and now you have National Treasure. And so this film really started with the idea of, okay, so I'm in the back seat of a car, and we pull up to a stoplight, and I jump out of the car, and I jump into another car. Why? And the whole movie built from this idea of this guy who's been kidnapped and is escaping his kidnappers in the car and gets into just a random car. And I built it started as a short film. I built it from that. And then it just kept growing and growing. We shot the short film, and then it became a feature. And so yeah, it started with this just tiny, simple idea.
Yeah, I've had some ideas that kind of came up to me recently when I just was I was on a walk. I was like, man, it's really hot, and then something sparked up. So you wrote the film, so what's your writing process like? Go through the process with me.
Man, this film, so it started originally as a short film, and I pitched the idea to him one day at work, because we worked together at the time, and he was like, oh yeah, that's a cool idea, keep going with it. And so I basically, all my filmmaking like mojo comes from my iPad. So I write in Celtics on my iPad. I do pre-production there, everything. When we're on set, it's our slate and all this. So I'm sitting on the couch, headphones in, listening to a random channel on Spotify or Pandora or whatever that puts you in the mood for it, and then just writing on my iPad. And I wrote a 19-page short film, and we cast it with some friends of ours, and then we ended up shooting that. And then when we were done, we were like, well, I mean, it's good, but it's not what we really envisioned. You know, we got rushed. We only had 4 days to shoot the short film, and so we were like, well, what if we expand it a little more? And we were like, okay, so what if it's 3 short films? And then a night of drinking in his driveway turned into, well, what if it became a feature film? And we just took the 3 short film ideas and made it 1 longer film, and so we rewrote it over beer and scotch, and sitting in his driveway in the winter, writing on the iPad for some reason.
Like you do.
Yeah, of course. And so the process just came with this, like, we had a general outline and we just wanted to make it funny but also serious, because that was the issue with the short film, is that it was funnier than it was serious, and that it kind of came off amateur, that it was like we didn't take it seriously. So we were sorry, brain fart. So we just wrote it into this feature film that kind of carries Jack along his adventure, and yeah.
Cool. So you said it took you. You said you only had 4 days to make the trailer. Why did you only have 4 days to make it? Why couldn't you make it?
Scheduling. Scheduling turns out, for me at least, to be the hardest part of filmmaking. There's so many different parties. You got, at the time for the short film was 5 actors, plus a DP, plus a makeup person, plus the person doing craft services, and myself, and one of our actresses is a single mom, and then one of our actors was like right between shows, and so just trying to find enough time that everybody could get together and we could just make this project. And it was like, yeah, we can shoot it in 4 really long days, and they were like, yeah, sounds cool. So we did it in 4. It was 2 weekends back to back, and it was probably, would you say, the hottest weekend in August? Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't think about that at the time.
I did not think about that.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
When it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah, I know. Scheduling is always, everything's fun up until you're like, all right, this is good. We got all that stuff. We got our locations. We got all that. All right, now how can I get everyone? All right, what's your work schedules like? And what's your, if you have kids, and then you're like doing like the little like Excel sheet and trying to figure out how to get everything together. Well, so besides scheduling, was there any other complications? I guess in the heat, doing it.
Will you wear a black wool jacket in the dead of summer? Yes, Harrison, I will. Am I getting paid? No.
Yeah.
No. You can have what did I get? Something from craft services maybe?
Oh, come on.
Pack of crackers, bottle of water maybe?
My mom did craft services for us because she's kind of always been a supporter when it came to, hey, I want to make short films, like always, starting in high school. And so she was like, well, I'll do all your food. I'll handle all of that for you. And so she kept you well fed.
It was very good. Just joking around.
Yeah. Other complications, man, schedules, time, locations, because a lot of the places we used are just like, my great uncle has a junkyard, and so we were like, hey, can we shoot there? And he was like, yeah, but I have to be in town. Oh, he lives in Florida. So we had to have him come in town to his junkyard that's here. The main mob boss in the short film, his house is my grandmother's house, and so having her be like, hey, can you not be here for 2 days?
But she has a cameo in the film.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah? She blows me a kiss, right?
That's somebody else.
That wasn't your grandmother?
No.
Oh, that's weird.
But yeah, the complications, I think, really came when we decided to expand on the film and make it a feature. We were gearing up. I have done all of the pre-production. We've got 90% of our locations picked out. We have 90% cast. We used to have a fantastic AD who unfortunately had to leave the project, and the same day that she left the project, we lost our lead actor. Ooh. And the whole film just kind of spiraled from that point. We tried to recast. We found some good people, but it wasn't anyone that really captured like the original guy was. And it's not fair to compare other actors to this first actor, but I mean, he was Jack. He was what we saw. He was on set with us for 4 days. He was one of our friends. It's filmmaking, so he just became part of the family. And so that has been our big struggle, is just trying to regain the momentum that we had before he left.
Yeah, I know how that is. When I when I tried acting once, or a couple of times, they had me as a lead role, and they had me. We filmed the movie for like 2 years straight. Not straight. It was like film a couple days. A couple months later, this happened. I had to keep my hair the exact same length and all that kind of stuff. And I went through like 4 different best friend people who played the best friend, and then 2 different main bad guys, and actually had to refilm the final fight scene twice. And it wasn't easy. Like, it was like, lots of bumps and bruises, and my ankle's still messed up because of it. Like, I can't like run correctly and all that stuff. And never came out. So, but that sometimes happens when things spiral down, and you don't mean it to get that way or anything like that. So yeah, we're gonna take a little break real quick, and when we come back, we're gonna talk a little bit more about Unfortunately Jack.
Join us this Thursday for KMOS Presents Missouri Life, where we'll turn our focus to Warrensburg, Missouri. And we'll meet a real stormy character. We'll talk about an old drum. And we'll take you inside a pipe organ factory. That's coming up this week on KMOS Presents Missouri Life.
Next time on Lowdown, it's all about the 2015 Distinguished Alumni Awards.
That's right, and this year we have 3 new members inducted into the illustrious circle.
John Kennedy gives us an in-depth look at all 3 recipients. You don't want to miss this episode of Lowdown.
Part of your Thursday, right here, Thursday night at 9 on KMOS TV, Missouri PBS.
Hi, I'm your host, Phil Hoffman, and we hope you'll join us for Pause Thursdays at 7 o'clock right here on KMOS. We'll be meeting with folks from around the mid-Missouri area as we talk about things that are important to you right here in your backyard. We hope you'll join us this week for Pause right here on KMOS. That's Thursdays at 7 o'clock.
My family came to this area of Missouri about 4 or 5 generations ago, and so we're trying to carry on that tradition. I'm the brother that stayed home and farmed, and I've got 3 boys. I hope that maybe someday they'll be able to come back and be a part of this operation. But having the opportunity to grow up on a farm, grow up in a rural area and a somewhat rural school, I think was an excellent part of their education. And being out here on the family farm with livestock and being out in nature has been an important part of the character that they've built while they're growing up.
Hi, I'm Colin Laveau.
And I'm Angela Hagenbach, host of Arts Upload. This week, we got stories about 2 creative couples and how they blend their skills together to make even better music, dance, and design.
Plus, a local filmmaker who just cannot forget his favorite mall.
That and more. You don't want to miss this episode. This week on your Thursday on Arts Upload.
And welcome back to Upstart Film. We're going to go ahead and talk a little bit more about the Unfortunately Jack trailer before we get into it and show you guys what it's about. So, why did you decide to shoot the scenes you did for the trailer? Why those scenes?
Well, the trailer actually is the scenes that we picked from the short film that we shot. So another local film that came out was the beginning of last year was Adira, and
yeah, Brad and Irene.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And they put out a call. They're like, "Hey, we need trailers to run in front of Adira." And I was like, "Hey, what if we put an Unfortunately Jack trailer out there and kind of get some buzz for our movie at the same time as, helping them out because they needed trailers." And actually, one of the actors is the same from both. And so they at one point they were like, "Is it weird that Seth is in both?" I was like, "No, it's totally fine. Play our trailer." So we ended up cutting the trailer. I think the finished version is like the 4th or 5th iteration of it, because we originally didn't start out as so dramatic. It had the sound from the scenes in the background and stuff like that. And the DP at the time was like, "What if we made it like super dramatic and intense, and then when people saw the film and it's a comedy, they'd be like, well, that's silly. I didn't realize we were coming to see a comedy." And so that's how we ended up with what we have now.
So tell me about the casting a little bit. I know Will is in the trailer. Who else is in the film? Who else is you cast?
So yeah, Will is in the trailer. His character is like the real bad guy. It's the real threat. Our lead, who was our lead, Jack, is Seth Andrew Mackey. He's a Kansas City actor who's actually getting ready to move to Chicago, I think. And then
Is it Second City?
Yeah. The lead female is Stephanie Summer. She was a girl that we actually worked with, but she went to school for theater. And then his sidekick, if you will, is my ex-sister-in-law, current sister-in-law. I don't really know the relationship. She's part of the family. And then the voice that you hear that is like was the first act bad guy is actually the voice of my stepdad. He does some acting on the side as well. So that's the original cast. And if I could shoot it right now with all of them, I would in a heartbeat.
Awesome. Will, tell me a little bit about your character in Unfortunately Jack. Who is he? How did you come up with what you came up with to make him real villainous and scary? From the trailer, you look pretty menacing. So
I think it all started with our love of Tom Hardy and Bronson. That accent. So my character does have like the Cockney British accent, and we kind of built off maybe a little bit of that over the top, kind of wide-eyed, saying things that don't necessarily make sense. There wasn't really a lot of thought put into it. I think when we improv some things, didn't we?
Yeah, you definitely.
So if it happened on the fly, we put it. If it worked, we put it in there. But he said just go in front of the camera and have fun, and that's what I did.
Awesome. That's really good to have that liberty as an actor. You kind of manipulate and do what you'd like to do with it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer for Unfortunately Jack.
Jack, why'd you do it?
Not really sure what I did.
You took something of mine, and I don't play well.
So yeah, whenever you watch it, it definitely looks a lot more intense. I did not take comedy from that at all. I'm watching, I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be. It's like kind of has like almost like a Departed feel to me a little bit, just kind of like a little bit more low key and centralized. But
the humor in it, we tried. I am a huge Lucky Number 11 fan.
Okay.
Which the humor in that is super subtle. Why do they call him a rabbi? Because he's a rabbi. Like that, and so that was the kind of humor that when we turned it into a feature, we put more of that in and took out less of the like super slapstick. Seth is a great actor and went way over the top with the slapstick because he is a comedian at heart. And so yeah, there was definitely a lot of just like, it confuses you, doesn't it? You're like, oh man. So yeah, that's what we were going for.
So where you kind of mentioned a little bit about where you shot at, but like where like specifically would you go into detail with for me? Like where did you guys decide to shoot these scenes for the trailer for the short film?
The idea behind that we really tried to push when we did our crowdfunding was that it's a Kansas City film. It's made in Kansas City by Kansas City actors, Kansas City talent, and all over crew, all that. And so all of the locations are in Kansas City in just different parts of it. The junkyard is in it's up by Station Casino, and then my grandmother's house is just next to Gladstone, and then there are parts of it that take place in like Olathe and downtown, and we just wanted to capture like these are little parts of Kansas City that you might not know exist, but we really want to show all the beauty really of what Kansas City has to offer as a filming location.
That's awesome. So what inspired you to do this movie, to do this project?
Will and I have worked together we've known each other for 4 years. We've worked together on 3 or 4 different short films. And this project just kind of felt like one of those that like, we read the script, like I finished the script and I sent it to him and he was like, yes, it's good, we should do it. And it's written low budget so that we could do it ourselves, and don't have to send it off to somebody else and watch the vision just disappear. But that was really the idea behind it. Is it was something bigger. It would be the first feature that us and our group of crew and friends have shot, as opposed to just the hundreds of short films that we've all made.
So I know that you guys did some crowdfunding for this. Tell me a little bit about that, because I know crowdfunding, you either it either hits and it goes skyrocket, or it's and you're kind of really posting a lot and trying to get people to come. But I understand you guys had an interesting way how you guys did that.
Yeah. When we did the short film, we crowdfunded and we made $27, and it was.
Oh, so yeah, you could fill up someone's gas.
Yeah, basically that was
$27.
$27. Well, and then of course
I didn't see a nickel of that, by the way.
Yeah. And of course the crowdfunding people, they take a snippet of it. So by the end of it was $18. And so at that point you're like, oh. And then when we were like, okay, we're gonna do this feature, let's crowdfund it, and we got to figure out how to crowdfund it right. And we set our goal not super high. We set it for $5,000, which is doable. It'd be tight, but it's doable. And then the idea I think that Will actually came up with was, what if we set goals, if we raise this dollar amount, we'll put out a video of someone in the cast doing this. If we raise this dollar amount, we'll do that. And so that's what we ended up doing. And so the first one was, if we hit $500, Will would work out, because he works out.
Easy.
I couldn't tell.
In jorts. Jean shorts.
Okay.
And so we did that video, and it's.
My mother was very proud.
Yes. And then if we did raise $1,000, I would do, what's it called?
Oh, the Truffle Shuffle.
Yeah, from the Goonies, which I've never seen, and that was, I know.
He's a filmmaker.
I know. It's actually it became one of our crowdfunding things. Is for $60 you get everything below, and you get to watch the Goonies with the cast and crew. And it was limit 1, and it was gone.
Yeah, a friend of mine bought that.
Minutes. So I will see the Goonies, I promise. But I had to do the Truffle Shuffle, which was very embarrassing. And then for $1,500, the lead actress, Stephanie Summer, she does princess parties. So for 3 or 4-year-old girls, she dresses up like a princess and comes in and does a story and whatever like that. So she has all these Disney princess dresses. And so we were like, will you sing whilst wearing one of the dresses? She's like, yeah, okay, fine. And so she did it. She dressed as Cinderella and she sang
Gangster's Paradise.
Yeah. Yes. So that was
sweet.
It
was amazing.
Amazing, yeah. And then our next goal we never reached. So we raised a total of $1,700, and all of that has gone to, so far, props and just kind of sitting there waiting for us to actually be able to film.
Now, you mentioned it to me before that you were talking about wanting to sell a script, but I kind of getting the idea that you don't want to do that anymore. You kind of want to do it yourself, which I completely understand. I wouldn't want to do that either. So.
When we lost our executive producer / assistant director and our lead actor, it was April 1st, so I thought it was a joke, and it wasn't a joke. But we were getting ready. We were 2 hours from sitting down and having our first full cast read through, and when Seth left, and he called me, and it was like, "You're breaking up with me." It was sad, and so kind of went into a little bit of just a spiral, just okay, well, I want nothing to do with this project. I need to take a break from it. Well, there's a website called the Blacklist. I was like, I'm going to put it up for there. I'm going to put it up for sale, and so I put it up there, and it's been up there for a month and a half now, and it's gotten moderate, maybe, views and stuff like that, and nothing, groundbreaking. But yeah, talking about it makes me just want to go do it right now. If I didn't have a day job, I would have totally shot this film 6 times over.
Well, that's what the weekends are for, right? You're free on the weekend, right?
Absolutely.
You're free on the weekend.
Kid. It's hard to, that time is so limited. So
you could direct with him strapped to one of the harnesses.
So I have one of those. We could just.
I would like
to
see
have him
that.
press record,
David, close your eyes. Action.
What does he have to do? What do we have to do all the thinking for you?
I just write. That's what I'm here for.
Fair enough.
Okay. So What makes, unfortunately, Jack special to you and to you?
I'm gonna let you go first.
Why do I have to go first?
Because
it's doing something I love with a group of people I actually care about. It's not just a job. We're out there having a good time, and we laughed all the way through it. I mean, your face hurts by the end of the day. And I've been on a few shoots where I'm like, this is the worst thing ever. I just want to go home. But when Harrison and I get together, it's something special. It's definitely something special.
All right, Harrison, you wrote it, you know, and it seems like almost like it's kind of trying to convince you to, pick it back up. What makes it special to you?
It is. I have written 2 other features before this one, and neither of them I wrote them, and when I was done, I was like, well, I did that, and they sit on a shelf somewhere completely untouched since I finished them. And this one was the one that it got other people excited, and I know how kind of silly that sounds, that you need other people's approval to continue on with the project. But with a film, like, it's not like a book. A book, one person sits down and reads it or writes it, but with a film, it becomes a group effort, and it takes the whole village to make it. And when other people get excited about it, it makes it drive, and you just want to make it.
Well, you came up with it it's kind of like a pinnacle, a certain pinnacle in your life.
Right. Well, that's all the time we have for tonight, so tune in next time and join me for another episode of Upstart Film. Good night.